All right, here we've got a Toyota 4Runner 5th gen. I believe this is the last year of the 5th gens as the new ones are starting to roll out finally. But what's ironic is people love their 5th gens, and this thing's a tank, and I can see people holding on to these for a long time. Wish I'd never really got rid of mine. Got that new Tundra, but that's all right. Tundra's been doing me well. Unfortunately, a lot of people have had problems with them. Anyways, it's a good opportunity to install some Morimoto XB EVO headlights. And I've seen a few comments just floating around on the forums and the pages saying, you know, you've got the factory LED lights, you don't really need to change them. The Morimoto ones are just marginally better, and yeah, don't expect too much. And I kind of chuckle at that because, you know, the new EVO lineup is quite amazing. It's packed with features, and they look awesome, and they perform really, really well. And you have the option to use the supercharged drivers. Now, the problem with the 5th gen, even though these are factory LED headlights, I don't know what Toyota was thinking. The Tundra, the Tacoma, you know, they come with daytime running lights and LED strip. This has been the same design for quite some time now, for a little bit too long. I believe since 2014. So it's been a crazy run. They've simply implemented a LED projector, and you've got daytime running lights that are halogen, 9005 bulb, that on some models that also acts as the high beam, and you've got incandescent turn signals. So it's kind of lame. They haven't changed much, but this projector is actually quite good, I have to say. It's really solid. I think the output's quite good. People are a little confused, and I'll show you why. But the question is it worth the upgrade to the EVO lineup if you've got the factory LED headlights? Now, right off the bat, I'm going to deduct a few points because they haven't changed the styling or added any features or functions. They've made the lights better. They're LED, but again, we're missing daytime running lights. We're missing LED turn signals. It just needed to get a step or two higher, and they kind of missed the boat on that. But maybe they were busy designing, you know, other makes and models. Now, apologize for the wind. It's been crazy windy, crazy cold here in the Northeast. So that door is a little rattly, but I'll be doing a quick comparison to see if it's actually worth upgrading these lights. Now, most people, the truth is, they upgrade their lights because they want them to look cool. They want amber daytime running lights or white daytime running lights. They want to modernize the front end. They want to black it out further because there is still a mixture of black and chrome in here, as you can see. But, you know, we specialize in high performance custom lighting, and in this case, we want to see lights perform really, really well. Not only do they look cool or do they have some cool features, we want them to perform well. So here we'll be doing a comparison to see if they actually perform better than the OEM LED lights. All right, here's the lights on. And you can see when they're on, it's just the running light. Got the amber reflector on the side, obviously. Running light, turn signal, that's the same bulb in there, incandescent, and the LED projector. That is categorized easily. You can tell which one it is because it's got the flat bottom and top and a kind of like a flat shroud, essentially, like a black shroud. Okay, but that's all you see when the lights are on. Now, we've got a lux meter. I'll show you what the output looks like, but first we'll analyze the beam pattern. You don't have too much color at the cutoff, which is a good thing. You know, they need to comply to OEM standards. Sorry, retrofit junkies. I know you guys like the color at the cutoff, but it is an OEM thing not to have too much color. But you can see the beam is very uniform. It's very consistent throughout. The hot spots are right where you want it. A lot of aftermarket lights won't even make names, mention names, but the hotspot is very, very, very low. You're introduced with a ton of foreground. Look, there's not a lot of foreground at all. You want foreground, you can turn on your fog lights, but the light is being put down the road right where you want it. But a lot of people are kind of questioning, like, what is this thing, right? What are these voids here, okay? Now picture this in the distance, it's magnified. That void is much larger, and that void is to comply with standards and laws set by the federal government. Now, manufacturers need that compliance, so they have a void spot, and that's for oncoming traffic. There's a little bit of an area of essentially dead light, okay? There's no light in the area, and that keeps this kind of anti, you know, dazzle, you know, kind of effect, essentially, because oncoming traffic does not want to be kind of dazzled by your LED lights. So this is what the answer is, essentially. People are confused by it, but that is there for a purpose, and it's there by design, okay? But I've got the lux meter right next to me. That's gonna measure the lux. We got 25 feet. We're going to take a measurement after we're done. And this is essentially to tell us, hey, are these lights, just at this one point, are they better or not than the Morimotos, okay? And if we're measuring right at the cutoff, okay, right around it, okay, I see about 850. Okay, 850 probably was about the highest reading. I think, yep, I saw about an 850 as well. So let's call it 850, okay? That's peak intensity at one reading that I took. This isn't a scientific test by any means, but it's a quick way to measure peak intensity. And if we're using a good lamp, I mean, to be honest with you, a good design, which this is, we can take that center intensity and we can simply take a look at the beam pattern and we can make some, you know, quick conclusions about how good a set of lamps, headlamps are, essentially. Okay, but again, nice tight intensity zone, tight to the cutoff, gonna give you good distance. And yeah, overall, this is pretty solid. Very bright for OEM LED. People that have these lamps should be pretty happy. Most people will be upgrading for looks, and the question is, are you going to upgrade your performance as well? All right, next question is it worth to upgrade from the factory LED fog lights? Some of them come with reflectors, some of them come with projectors. It depends on which trim you have. I've blocked the headlights. We'll take a look at the output. We'll do a quick reading and a quick analyzation of the fog lamp beam pattern. It's really solid. It's really wide. There's no question about that. The width is really good on these. It's hard to showcase that here in the shop, but you know, the output's pretty solid overall. It's sharp, okay? I've got my lux meter, and this looks consistent throughout. You can see I put a piece of tape, so we'll be able to, looks like about 125 lux or so was the max. Put a piece of tape, we'll align it to that same beam pattern. But overall, these are really solid. You're not gonna create any extra glare. As you can see, there's no light above the cutoff. They're really good. But the question is it worth to upgrade to the Morimotos while we're upgrading the headlights? Okay, I just pulled off the factory LED assembly, just to show you what the back looks like. Again, replaceable halogen daytime running light bulb. You have a turn signal bulb, you got a parking light bulb, but the low beam, there's no access to that, okay? A lot of people are surprised when they understand that there is no more replaceable bulbs once you have a factory LED assembly. Now, I've seen the comments on the forums and pages, oh, well, when a bulb goes bad, you know, you'll be on the hook. Same thing. You'll need to replace the whole assembly once this goes bad. Same thing with the Morimotos. I'll show you what the back looks like on those. But essentially, you're just taking off this bumper trim piece, transfer into the Morimotos, and I'll get into depth on the Morimotos in a moment. But just showing you, that's a standard thing. There's no replaceable components on a full LED assembly. Okay, I've got the bumper piece added on. That's the only thing you have to transfer over, by the way. I mean, let's just take a look at the front of these, the design aspects. The amber reflector is a little bit smaller, but fully compliant, obviously. You got some cool details in that DRL optic. So you got the upper optic, and you've got the side ones. These are the EVO lights, not the EVO hybrids. So they do have that high beam assist. So check that out. There are no incandescent halogen bulbs or anything like that in here. It's full LED assembly. Believe it or not, that is a lens heater, okay? Right down below. Check out the instructions in the on Morimoto's site to see how that works. But yeah, full LED. I mean, it's just so awesome. Now let's take a look at the back, okay? Believe it or not, that is the temperature sensor down there, right under the main plug. And I'll show you some of the connection stuff. The left and right is capped off just like you would normally have on a factory assembly. This is the key swap area. You're going to be able to reach into the engine bay, swap the keys to whatever you prefer. You literally just pull this thing off. Hard to do it one-handed. That's our adjuster. And this is the driver for the headlight. Okay, it's a computer essentially. They do have the supercharged drivers, which boosted about 50%. We've seen it on Tacomas. It's quite amazing. This is the DOT spec, essentially a street legal spec. A lot of Toyota customers want to keep things street legal. I understand that, respect that. That's totally cool. In the future, if you want to, you can upgrade your lights for about 150 bucks or whatever the part costs. And I feel like that's a huge bargain. So again, fully sealed, nothing to replace, but you do have some options with the EVO lights. The EVO hybrids don't have this option. And yeah, I'll get into the plugs in a moment. Okay, went over this in the Tacoma video, but I'll redo it again for the 4Runner community. These are those key swaps. It's literally just like a plug, okay? Customer can keep this in the car, keep it in the garage, whatever you wanna do, but these essentially change the daytime running light settings and the sequence of the turn signal. Resistors, which I'll go into in a moment once they're mounted. These are magnetic, they literally just stick on. Awesome idea for more in moto. You don't have to worry about burning anything or taking out the double-sided tape. And one thing I don't like about, it's a two-sided coin, of course, but you got a little bit of waste because now the lights, they come with every possible option that you would need for hooking it up to your vehicle. You got the factory LED version, or you got the halogen version, okay? These we'll be throwing away today. We're not gonna be using them. We'll put it to the side, maybe save it for a rainy day, but we'll be using these. So you have everything you need inside the box essentially, which is pretty cool. And then you've got the daytime running light hookup. This needs to be hooked up to the fuse box if you want everything to work properly. And yeah, that's about it. It's pretty straightforward. I'll get this set up, get the wiring set up, get it plug and play, set up the resistor, and then I'll do a comparison from side to side really quick. Okay, I've got one of the lights installed. That's the driver's side. Let me take a look here. Yeah, look how much larger the intensity zone is. You can see it's kind of centralized just right of center in comparison to below the whole center on the opposite side, which is the OEM. You got a little light above the cutoff. We like to call those squirrel finders. They do help illuminate signs on the highway and just in general, a little bit of extra light without blinding or dazzling oncoming traffic. But the biggest thing with these is they have a more aggressive kind of a cutout for the void for oncoming traffic, which means you can really maximize the light output to the right, down the road, without blinding oncoming traffic. So this is huge for anybody who feels like their LED lights are blinding people. The 4Runner has a kind of a floaty suspension. It moves up and down a lot. That means the lights are moving up and down a lot, and that does kind of create some pissed off people essentially because they think you're flashing them, they think you're driving around with your high beams on. But check it out, no compromise setup here essentially. But we'll take some measurements later on. Just wanted to show you before and after. To me, this is a vast improvement over the factory LED lights, which are already very good. And we'll get into the nitty gritty at the end. And really quick before I move on to the passenger side light, this is with both lights on. Got the EVO on the driver's side and the original on the passenger side. Dual projectors, you got the daytime running light on. Just looks really good, really modern, without looking too aftermarket or too out of place. 100% looks amazing. All right, so this is more from an installer standpoint. I just think the design, and I don't know why it took so long for companies to come out with something like this. The magnetic resistor connection, again, just so obvious, but also just genius to have it installed like that. You don't have to drill the body. You're not gonna have a resistor falling down, melting things, because these things get hot once the turn signal is activated for an extended period of time. And also just check out the key swap. Fully accessible. To see that blue plug, you can remove that and change it, and then you'll change your daytime running light. Right now it's set to white mode, I believe, with the sequential, but about to show you what it looks like. Okay, we're moving on to the fog lights. These are factory fog lights. Again, no replaceable LED bulb. They still use the factory H11 connector, which is cool, but these will be plug and play. I'm going to set up the 4-banger. Customer also has some fang lights, so we'll slip those in. And passenger side always has this cover. You got to remove the cover. We'll slip on the new fogs. I'll show you how that looks. Okay, I've assembled the 4-banger fogs. They do need to be assembled. They come as a pod, and then they come with the pigtail for the car, and then they come with the model specific bracket. But this is what the 4-banger looks like. This is the yellow one. And I'll show you what the output looks like. Now, to aim them, you can simply tighten these things up. these torque screws on the side. This is technically your adjuster down here, but you kind of have to swivel it. I like to get them pretty tight and then just push them into position essentially from the front and manipulate it, but we'll see how that works. All right, everything's been wrapped up here. Show you how everything looks in just a moment. Got the low beams on right now. White daytime running light. This inner light will turn on for the high beam. That's the high beam assist, but the shields will drop on the dual projectors, letting all the light out. Check out the 4-banger fogs. They look really good. And I'll demonstrate some of the things I love about these lights in a moment. Okay, customer did add that DRL fang light, which I installed along with the fogs. But if we just focus on the headlight assembly, I think that's a really cool function there. Remember, you're coming from incandescent bulbs there. This just doesn't compare to a full LED strip. And that can sequence like that, or it can come on and off in a full strip. So the user can toggle however they want that. But that is your turn signal. So added function there. You got the LED daytime running light, LED turn signals, you know, full LED housing. As far as features and functions, I mean, it just doesn't compare to the factory LED assembly. Even though they're great, this is a superior product choice here. Okay, so if we take a look at the output now, we've got both EVO headlights. Again, standard drivers, the supercharged drivers would increase this even further. Check out those intensity zones. They're much larger than the factory, but they're not too large where they're coming halfway down the wall or even close to the ground like we see some of the aftermarket assemblies out there. Big names, they just don't have the lighting optimized. It's all for looks. So with the Morimotos, you get the looks, you get the performance. It's an all-in-one, no compromise setup. Okay. You got a little bit of color too. Should have mentioned that. A little bit of color flicker. So when you're kind of in its beam for that split second, you get a little bit of that bluish purplish. It's kind of like a fancy look, in my opinion. The retrofit community loves it. I think it looks pretty good. But you only get that when you're kind of just right at the beam, right at the cusp of the beam essentially. But anyway, check out the performance, the lux meter, what it's giving us. Just right where I thought it would be, around 1,000, 1,100 with the standard drivers. That's what we've seen. So almost hit 1,100. Was that like 1089? Oh, that's interesting. 1,100 on this side. I mean, what, we hit 850 before. Quick math tells me what? That's 20, 25% extra. Along with all the extra features and functions, I think it's a no-brainer. But again, if you want to boost it up further, take it off of that DOT spec driver. We've seen the Tacoma EVO lights hit about 1,500, 1,600. I mean, it's just pretty wild. So let me step back and we'll check out the view from here. Put on the high beams. So shield drops, you got the high beam assist. Nice band of light. That looks awesome. I'm going to put on the fog lights now as well. Actually, what I'll do is I should cover them like I did before so we can analyze the beam. But that's what the yellow fog lights look like. You can see I've got them aimed up to the original height. And let's do the fogs alone. Alrighty, here we are. So I've got the top portion of the beam. That's what you want to do. Honestly, on most vehicles, it's the pod all the way down. The camera's picking it up a little bit weird, but I want the top, most highest portion of the fog light beam pattern to be no higher than the original, just to see, just for that road test, because we recommend the road test and then make adjustments as needed. Now, I'll tell you right off the bat, the factory one was probably a little bit wider, but the performance of this one is much stronger. So lux meter in hand, and I don't know, we were hitting a little bit over 100 before, and now we're at about 240. So I mean, we're doubling the fog light performance. That's pretty awesome. And you get to choose your color. Now these are not selectable like the headlights. I had to cover them with a with a microfiber. But these are the yellow version. The Morimoto version is, when I say Morimoto, a lot of other companies have yellow fogs, but some people are looking for amber. The Morimoto's yellow is really close to a golden yellow. It looks really good. It's not that like washed out yellow. And if you're looking for yellow or amber yellow, I think this is more of an amber yellow, so it's pretty awesome. But let us know what you guys think about this review. I think it's pretty fair to say that this is an improvement over the factory assemblies. You're not going to double your light output from factory LED. So I think if you have a 21 or over, you'll have the factory LED assemblies. You won't double it, but you'll gain about what, 20–30%, and a buttload of extra awesome features. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Subscribe to the channel, purchase from our website if you can, support us, subscribe to us. We love working with the headlight and the automotive lighting community. And call us, email us, we'd love to chat. All right, thanks again guys, take care.